Hello, everyone, and welcome to the National Inventor Club, where in August 2023, we have a great lineup of guest intros today from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, from the Small Business Development Center, which is a division of the Small Business Administration. And our special featured guest tonight is Elizabeth Foster. She's from Licensing International, and we're going to learn about what licensing really means from the brand licensing side to the product licensing side. And we're going to hear all about that coming up very soon. Let's start off by just having a couple quick announcements. Let's have Samantha St. Raymond. And for those of you who have experienced the Inventor Smart Community app, National Inventor Club is now rolled up into that app. So Samantha, we are going to start making some official announcements of our executive team. Samantha, you're the start. I'd like to congratulate you and welcome to the Inventor Smart community as the VP of Membership.
Yay. Thank you so much, Brian. I really appreciate it. And what an exciting membership it is. So everybody that's already downloaded the app from, of course, the Apple Store or Google Play, the Inventor Smart Community app. Plenty of members have already joined up. I'm assuming a lot of people are here tonight that are already a member. So we've been watching this community grow in the last couple of months of doing a kind of a mini soft launch. I know that we have a lot of plans behind the scenes getting ready to announce and develop. So I wanted to introduce myself as Samantha. If you're on the app, you're seeing some of my communications and comments. I love seeing everybody sign up. We would encourage you to please add your profile picture or your product. That is definitely a way to get an added exposure to the app and its purpose. We'd like to get to know you on a more personal level instead of that black and white shadow. I'd also like to encourage us all to become premium members. So what is the difference between being on the app and having a premium membership? Well, first, we'd like to say that our dear friend Brian has put a lot of time and effort and work into development of this app. And there's, of course, of cost associated. So we think it's a fair price for $99 for 1 year. And if you sign up now by September, we're going to offer you 1 month free. So you get 13 months for $99, or you can simply break it down to $9.99 a month. So becoming a premium subscriber and a premium member will give you exclusive access to not only the National Inventors Club, but we have a link where we do an after show. You will get a National Inventors Club t-shirt, which we all love. You will have exclusive access to get yourself in front of customers and buyers, inventors, and here comes the t-shirt. I love it. It's great colors. So I just wanted to mention that and all the extra benefits that you get by becoming a premium member. And I think it's also fostering and supporting this endeavor that we're getting into. I think Brian was going to kind of pull up the app a little bit here. As you can see, there's multiple tabs of resources that you can tap into. This is the first time ever anyone has developed an app just for inventors and service providers. This is groundbreaking, it's revolutionary, and it's something really exciting to be a part of. So each kind of tab will have different services, service providers. If you want to learn more about manufacturing, you want to learn more about licensing, each tab will take you to that form. On the Ask Anything, that's been my go-to. I think a lot of people are coming into the community there. You can put out your question or something that's happening in your world, something that you're excited to share with us. I know we talked about Walmart's open call a few weeks ago, and a lot of us were posting that link, encouraging other members to get in there and get in on that open call. So these are just some of the benefits that are happening within this app. It's still kind of brand new. I know Brian's got some stuff that he's working on to make this community grow even bigger than it already is growing right now. So your support is definitely vital to the growth and success of this program. And I'm overly excited. I love this app. I'm on it every single day. I've already tapped into a ton of resources. There's a resource tab on the app that you should get into, and there's just link after link of so many different things as inventors and or service providers that are going to be beneficial to your personal and your professional growth.
Thank you so much, Samantha. I appreciate all your help and support in getting the app off the ground, and really appreciate it. So congratulations, you're the VP of membership. There's some more announcements to make coming up in the next upcoming meetings, and we are looking to officially launch in the next couple of weeks. So thank you again for all your help and support.
Well, we thank you, Brian. I know you put a lot of work into this, and it's really coming together nicely, and we're all very proud of you, and we're very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Samantha. All right, let's have Pierre Las Pinas. He's from the Small Business Development Center located in Farmingdale, New York at Farmingdale State College. And the Small Business Development Center is part of the Small Business Administration. Thank you so much, Pierre, for joining us. And you have some tips for the inventors, entrepreneurs, startups out there?
Let me first say congratulations, Brian. Congratulations, Samantha. It's always a pleasure and to be on this platform. Your leadership is fantastic. I just it leads to admiration, and I must tell you that you're doing a fantastic job here. Also, today I have two tips to talk about today. When I often come on this platform, I usually start by talking about business planning. I want everyone to think that business planning is actually planning something. That something that you're planning, which is rarely referred to, is the business model. What is the business model? The business model is, how will this happen? How will this business be structured? Are you going to be a wholesaler? Are you going to be a licensor? Are you going to do retail? Will you be operating by subscription? All of that gets laid out. And it is only after you've laid it out, because it determines whether or not you're going to need infrastructure, whether or not the type of logistics that you're going to use. It's critical that you lay out a business model to be planned in a business plan. That's my first tip. My second tip is, I often come here and literally pitch myself as the guy that you should come to, not always realizing that this is a national platform. You could be anywhere. You could be in California. You could be everywhere. But the good news is the SBDC is a national network of small business development centers. So yeah, if you live in Suffolk County, Nassau County, close by, and you want to come by to see me at the center at Farmingdale, that is great. But if not, there is certainly an SBDC where you are. They're having a national conference in Tennessee next week. So wherever you are, Google SBDC, find the resources that are closest to you, and go get the free help that they offer. And I think you will find it very useful.
Thank you so much, Pierre. I have to say that it is really interesting to find out from all the people that have been watching our meetings for the last several years doing National Inventor Club, that people have taken advantage of the small business development centers in their areas. And America's SBDC is the central headquarters for all the different SBDCs around the country. Again, I'm saying SBDC, it stands for Small Business Development Center. So if you're looking for local resources, maybe the college that the SBDC is on has engineering students. They can make prototypes. They have connections to the local banks for grants and actually filing for a small business loan. A lot of different things, but one that's really taken advantage of from our membership is the help that you and your team all around the country actually offer for business plans. You can provide the structure for the business plans and help us through preparing and giving us some kind of guidance on what it might look like if we do turn our idea into a business. And you know what? It's all free. The way that they work, they need appointments. So find your local SBDC and schedule an appointment with your local advisor. Pierre, thank you so much as always. Thank you and Erica for all your help and support with the National Inventor Club, and to all the inventors and entrepreneurs around the country.
Of course, you're welcome.
Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
All right. Next, we have Elizabeth Doherty. I love when we have the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office representatives come on here. So Elizabeth is the director of the Eastern Regional Outreach Office, and she's a regular on National Inventor Club. So Elizabeth, I know that you have some tips, advice, events, all kinds of things to talk about. So let's hear what we have for this month.
Well, I do, Brian. But first, like Pierre, I want to issue my words of congratulations to you for creating this new app. Just when I thought I didn't need another app, I think I might. An app that helps inventors. I'm definitely going to investigate, and I'm sure your listeners and audience are as well. I also want to offer a word of congratulations and thanks to Brian and the National Inventors Club, because Brian actually just this past week came on with our Deputy Director, Derek Brent, and spoke to senior leadership at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, providing information, insights, and expertise on the independent inventor community. Brian is an inventor's inventor and speaks well for the community. So he provided our teams with some direct insight and thoughts as to how the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office could continue to expand our footprint in reaching out to and engaging with independent inventors and helping to support you in each and every one of your endeavors. Brian, as always, we welcome the opportunity to come on your program, and it's a real gift that you invite us to do so each and every month. While there's a host of things I could talk about tonight, I know my time here is very limited because you have a host of wonderful speakers this evening. So I just want to highlight two upcoming programs of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. And just as Pierre said, while he is a local to the Farmington College and the Long Island area, my team and I support stakeholders of the East Coast, but the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office has a national footprint. Regional offices in Detroit, Denver, Dallas, and San Jose, but we also do a great deal of national programming. Just as Pierre mentioned the SBDC program that's taking place in Nashville, Tennessee, we are going to be on the ground in Nashville, Tennessee, participating in that exact program. But the program I want to call your attention to is our next installment of the We Wednesday, our Women's Entrepreneurship Wednesday events hosted by our very Director Kathy Vidal. This one is going to be women entrepreneurs who two-step through funding and mentorship to the beat of intellectual property. And we've got some really fantastic speakers lined up, including Lindsay Cox, who is the CEO of Launch Tennessee, Tony Hickey, the Chief Legal Officer and Corporate Secretary of Atmos Filtration Technologies and a former USPTO employee, and one that I am super interested to listen to, Chris Lacey, who is the co-president of Warner Music in Nashville itself. And that's just some of the wonderful speakers. And that is taking place next Wednesday. And I hope that everyone's going to tune in. There is an in-person component, but there is also a virtual component. And that's taking place on September 6th. Last but not least, the other program that I want to mention, because it's particularly pertinent to your audience, is something that comes out of our Council for Inclusive Innovation. And it is our first-time filer expedited examination pilot program. And while the program has been out for a short bit of time, we are hosting a webinar to educate people to this pilot program, who can participate in the program, what are the benefits of the program. And this is taking place later in September, September 26th. Find it on our website and register to attend that program. Again, that's the first-time filer expedited examination pilot program. We want people to take advantage of this resource. So jump on with us, educate yourself to the opportunity, and be sure to take advantage of the pilot program if you're able to do so. So those are my two quick tips for this evening, Brian. And again, congratulations and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. Very kind, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. And it's great to be included and involved in many of the activities representing the inventor community out there on behalf of our community to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. I really appreciate it. And one other thing, Elizabeth, and we're going to have Cynthia Hardman also. She's from the USPTO in a moment. But we are fortunate enough on the uspto.gov website to have all different types of resources for inventors and innovators and entrepreneurs on there, where we have our own section to get help. And there's all the things to navigate through, but there's also the Inventor Assistance Center, which can provide support directly with somebody from the USPTO office. So take a look, uspto.gov. Thank you, Elizabeth, for what you do for our community and for the Eastern region. And I know you're working on things throughout the country, and you have your
Indeed.
colleagues as well. So we appreciate your help and
Thank you, Brian.
support to the National Inventor Club. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
See you soon. Thanks. Okay, next, let's have Cynthia Hardman. She's also from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. She's an administrative patent judge. Cynthia, if you could start off by telling us what an administrative patent judge is, that would be fantastic. And I know you have some updates and some events that are happening from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office from your side.
Yes, thank you, Brian. So administrative patent judges,
Can you
we sit
hear me?
in the business. Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me? So administrative patent judges sit
Yep,
within the
we're good.
business unit of the patent office called the Patent Trial and Appeal Board, or the PTAB. And we hear patent disputes about issued patents if somebody wants to challenge the validity of an issued patent. And we also hear disputes involving inventors who are trying to obtain patent claims in a patent application, but get continual rejections from the examiner. The inventor can then appeal it to the PTAB, where judges like myself will then hear the dispute and decide whether the rejection should be maintained or not. So that's what we do at the PTAB. And I'm here today to, I wanted to give you a little bit of information about some upcoming events that may be of interest to inventors. I had the pleasure of meeting several club members when the National Inventor Club visited the USPTO a few months ago. And this is a really great group. So we hope these events are valuable to you. So first, I wanted to mention on September 7th, we have, for those in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area, we have a PTAB and TTAB stadium tour. The TTAB is the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board, which is the counterpart to PTAB, but they focus, as the name implies, on trademark matters. This day on September 7th in the Raleigh-Durham area will feature panels of patent and trademark judges conducting live hearings. These will involve a real patent case and real trademark cases where judges are doing in real time overseeing the hearings. That is taking place at the North Carolina Central University. And in conjunction, the rest of the day will also feature educational sessions led by patent and trademark judges and feature interviews with other PTAB personnel. I'm sorry, USPTO personnel. Next, we have on September 28th is our monthly webinar series called Inventor Hour. This is a webinar series that we produce every month designed to engage with and educate the independent inventor community. September's episode will feature a virtual tour of the National Inventors Hall of Fame Museum, and will also feature an interview with trademark judge Melanie Johnson, who will be teaching us more about trademark proceedings that take place at the TTAB. And you can find information on these programs and many, many more programs, as Brian just mentioned and Ms. Doherty just mentioned, on the uspto.gov webpage, or just search in your browser for USPTO events. It should lead you right there. So thank you to Brian for the opportunity to speak with your audience, and we hope to see you at one or more of these events.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Where, if we miss it, what you've said, or we want to look and just continue, you mentioned the events that are for September. What about the other events going forward? Where can we go on the website to take a look?
Yes, so we have an events page on the USPTO website. It's pretty simple to find. Just plug in USPTO or Patent and Trademark Office events into a web browser. Should lead you right to that page. And you'll see we have, several events each and every week, including the ones I mentioned and going on into the future.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Thank you so much for your support from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Thank you to Janet Gongola for all her help and support throughout. She's a chief judge there on the Patent Trial and Appeal Board. we appreciate you being on and giving us the info so we know. Thank
Very
you so
good.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, couple real quick announcements before our main guest, Elizabeth Foster. I have a great announcement. November 9th, 2023, just in case anybody's watching this another time, we have Kathy Vidal. She is the director of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the highest office position at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, and she is going to join us on National Inventor Club. So mark your calendars, November 9th. There's obviously a few more meetings before then, but November 9th should be a special treat for us. And I also wanted to just show this real quick. For those of you who are in the Las Vegas area or close, or just feel like going to Las Vegas, on September 7th and 8th, there is a co-create event from Alibaba.com. We've had Alibaba.com as a guest on National Inventor Club as well. And this event is going to be their first ever in-person conference at Resorts World in Las Vegas. And I have a code to get you, I think it's $100 or $200 off the $399. But if you take a look here, we got everybody knows Mr. Damon John, and there's a whole bunch of great guests from Alibaba, or speakers, I should say. And then look at this. There's Brian Fried. There I am. I'll be on stage and they'll be live streaming all over the world. And I'm going to be talking about when you invent a product and you're actually going to go into manufacturing, how do you utilize the Amazon.com platform to find a factory and vet them? So that's my part of the speakers at the Co-Create event 2023. If you do want a coupon code to get a discount on the admission, just email me, and you could do Brian at nationalinventorclub.com, and I'm happy to send you the link to sign up. So let me just stop sharing the screen here with this. Remove that. And if you want, you could go to cocreate.alibaba.com, COCREATE dot Ali, ALIBABA.com. All right. Elizabeth, let's have Elizabeth Foster come on now. And she is from Licensing International. And we're going to explain what all that is. But Elizabeth, who I've gotten a chance to know for quite some time now, she is the director of content and communications. And we're going to talk about what brand property licensing is, what product licensing is, and we're going to have a nice presentation from Elizabeth. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us on National Inventor Club.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to chat with everyone today about licensing.
Thank you very much. So let me put up the slide that we have here for our program tonight. And Elizabeth, before we start on the program here, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Licensing International.
Absolutely, yes. So as you've mentioned, I'm the Director of Content and Communications at Licensing International. I originally got my start in journalism, so I worked for about a decade as a journalist, first in newspaper and then moving on to magazine. Throughout the course of my career, I was lucky enough to get to know the licensing industry, to spend a lot of time writing about it. I fell in love with it. As most of the folks that you'll meet in licensing, you'll know that a lot of us sort of fell into the industry, but once you start, it's hard to stop. It's a really fascinating place filled with really, really great people. So now that I'm at Licensing International, which is the trade association for the industry, I work with the team there to provide resources for all of our members. So from a content perspective, that has to do with features that go out in our daily newsletter. It has to do with content at events, so panels and keynotes, as well as working with research firms to put together exclusive data for our members.
Excellent. Okay, so we're going to navigate and explore the world of licensing. And some people might have the perception of what licensing is just in general, but there actually are a few types of licensing. So, Elizabeth, let's start on what you have to show us for this evening. Let's take a look.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, it's good to just start with the basics. So for anyone who's completely unfamiliar, licensing is the process of allowing a third party, so the licensee, to manufacture and distribute products featuring a brand, a character, or imagery under license from the IP owner, the licensor. Now, there are different types of licensing. Often the type that most people are familiar with would be brand licensing, which is when the licensee, the manufacturer, creates products or experiences using IP owned by the licensor. So if I'm trying to explain licensing to someone who's not familiar, the example I would most often use is, if you've ever bought your kids a t-shirt with their favorite cartoon character on it, that's licensing. There's also product licensing, where an inventor would license out their product design to a manufacturer.
So, Elizabeth, I set up some props. So I have an invention that was it is a snack container. Okay. And I thought it would look cool to have a face on it, but it was an interesting snack container. You scoop and you can eat from it. And it just kind of looked like a mouth, right? So then I went to a company that manufactures snack containers. They're very active in Walmart and the major retailers. And they were in the middle of getting a deal with Sesame Street. So they said, you know what? We have something really interesting. Why don't we take your snack container and add Elmo and Cookie Monster on it? So now every time one of these sold, the licensee would end up paying Sesame Street a royalty and paying me a royalty for every time one of these sold. So that's brand licensing, where they rented the rights to use Sesame Street, or even the Ninja Turtles. Well, you can't see that one, but the Ninja Turtles. And then on this side, Elizabeth, this is one of my inventions that at some point I licensed, but this is called pull tie. And I made this invention. I have a patent on this also. And I went to a company that has kitchen gadgets, and they're in major retail stores. So I asked them if they'd be interested in licensing the rights to my intellectual property, and they would manufacture it, distribute it, and I would earn a royalty from it. So there's no character on this, but we just some of the props here to show you what brand property licensing is, to go out and get Sesame Street on an invention or a product, and then just basic IP owner, like you're saying, where I license out my product design to a manufacturer.
Absolutely. Perfect examples. And something that we often talk about at Licensing International is when it comes to specifically brand licensing, it's really about creating an emotional connection between a consumer and a brand. So licensing is, in some ways can be looked at as an equation that you apply to your business plan, but it's also a tool that can be used for storytelling to increase engagement. So that's something that we always like to focus on. Just because it is such an important aspect of specifically brand licensing. And so I've brought along similarly some examples just to run through. Licensing really runs the gamut across every category you can imagine. So we've touched on apparel, accessories, the automotive industry, health and beauty.
So all these Elizabeth, have like Fruity Pebbles. Fruity Pebbles is a cereal, but whoever is making that ice cream went to whoever owns Fruity Pebbles and said, we'd love to make a flavor called Fruity Pebbles ice cream. And every time we make these, we're going to put Fruity Pebbles on it. And when it sells, we have to pay you, Fruity Pebbles, a royalty. And they might have to pay in advance to be able to use that name.
Yes, exactly.
I wonder what that tastes like. Fruity Pebbles.
Exactly, yes. Footwear, toys is another fantastic example that most people have sort of a personal connection to. It's a really quick shortcut to explaining licensing. And the pet category, which is actually a category that's seeing tons of growth right now. So many people adopted pets over the last few years and are looking to purchase products for them. So we're seeing lots and lots of licensing happening in the pet category. So in terms of the benefits of licensing, as I'd mentioned previously, the storytelling opportunities. By expanding your brand into different categories, you're able to connect with consumers in different ways, highlight different aspects of your intellectual property. That increases engagement. We've seen that when you're a fan of something, and specifically a brand, you want to be able to express that. You want to be able to recognize and connect with other people who are fans. And all of that drives towards increases in revenue.
So, Elizabeth, when you're talking about that, I just use this as an example just to understand. So, let's say my snack container didn't have Elmo or Cookie Monster or Ninja Turtles on it, and it was just a regular snack container. Do you think that it would be as popular as having Elmo and Cookie Monster on? Right? So, you're saying that
unfortunately not. Yeah, as fantastic of a design as it is, we've seen that licensing is a difference maker. So, for example, in our most recent global licensing industry study, we saw that revenue related to licensed products and experiences increased by 8% between 2021 and 2022. And the regular retail sphere increased by about half that. So we've seen that when people are making choices between products, one significant aspect is price, but another almost equally significant aspect is branding. When people see a brand, a character, a piece of content that they recognize, that they care about, that often is the difference maker in terms of purchase.
Look, even with Band-Aids, I remember my daughter's 21 now, but when we go for Band-Aids, she wants the princess's Band-Aid as opposed to just the plain, just plain ones. And we would pay a little bit more for it, but she was happy. And even with just going down and looking, I would be in the aisles when these snack containers were in Walmart, for example, and the kid would walk down the aisle or go down the aisle with their mom and go, "Mommy, I want Elmo," right? And the mom said no, and I was like, "Okay, I'll buy it for you." But I'm just saying, like, these are the type of thoughts that you don't realize you might be paying a little bit of a premium when you're going to the stores, because there's some behind the scenes logistics that have to go on for that manufacturer that has to pay for the rights for one of these brands or icon logos, right?
Absolutely, yes. And that's, again, where we talk about the emotional connection and the strength of that connection between consumers and products. All right. So we've talked a little bit about some of the key players. So you have the brand owner, the licensor, then you have the licensee, which is the manufacturer that's actually creating the products. You also, of course, have the retailer. But there are a lot of steps along the way to make a product happen. So you've also got a lot happening in terms of product development. So actually designing the product itself, which everyone here knows a lot about, the amount of work that goes into creating something, and as well as operations. So you have the manufacturing process, shipping, containment, and then also crucial would be marketing and PR, because people can't purchase a product if they don't know that it exists. So I've got a bit more on the process here, and I can share this with you, Brian, to make it available to everyone as well, if anyone would like to have these slides. But as you can see, it takes a long time to get from that initial negotiation and deal making into, the pay advance or the minimum guarantees, all the way through product approval, because that's a very important part of the process for brand owners. When you are licensing your property, you want to make sure that it is being used properly, that it's being displayed appropriately. So an example that we would give is, obviously a beloved children's brand wouldn't want to have their characters shown doing something illegal, for example. You would never want that. So the approval process is very important. Manufacturing and shipping, crucial in terms of timelines, making sure that you're launching at retail at the right time, and then moving into royalties and ultimately those sales.
So Elizabeth, we do have some questions and comments that are coming in on many of the social media channels that we're on. So us as inventors, when we're inventing a product, we are the licensor. When we go to a company that has product in retail and we're showing them our product and we're looking for them to license the rights to our intellectual property, most of the time you have some IP, a patent filed, pending, or issued, they would be the licensee. And they would be renting the rights to your intellectual property. This is how it may work most of the time. And when they do that, this is the steps in the process of what they need to do. And there's some licensees that may have you more involved in some of the activity, and some of them are, listen, we got this. This is what we do for a living. So let us do our thing, and you're going to sit back and collect royalties. And, as long as we hit the minimum guarantees, we should all be good. On the other side, you're talking about, let's say, if this is my product, right, and I am looking for to add Sesame Street on it. I'm sorry, Elmo and Cookie Monster are getting a lot of airtime tonight, but I would be the licensee.
Yes.
And Sesame Street would be the licensor, because Sesame Street has the rights to the Elmo and Cookie Monster characters, and I am going to rent the rights to their intellectual property of their image to put on my product. So we could get a little bit deeper on what sort of criteria later on, but I just wanted to clear that up to some of the questions that are out there. Hopefully I said it correctly, Elizabeth.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great.
And so I also want to just provide a little more information on Licensing International for anyone who's not familiar. So our mission is to foster the growth and expansion of licensing. So that happens in a few different forms. One is by raising the level of professionalism for licensing practitioners, so providing licensing executives all around the world with the resources they need to do their business to the best of their ability. It's also about creating greater awareness of the benefits of licensing to the business community at large. We often say licensing, folks don't always know exactly what licensing is, but the second you explain it, it makes complete sense. So it's just about helping folks to understand the power of those types of agreements that coming together, whether you're a licensee or a licensor, that those partnerships and those brands can really support your business to help take you to the next level. So we're here to help support the industry in any way possible. So we do that in a few different ways. One real focus for us is connections. So helping our members reach the people in the industry that they need to connect with in order to continue to expand. As far as discovery, that's where a lot of my work comes in terms of content. So doing the work to look into the trends, the opportunities, the obstacles that are going to be of focus in the future for the industry so that our members can prepare. And again, just advancing licensing wherever possible. So just to help provide a little bit of perspective, so retail sales of licensed merchandise and experiences in 2020 reached $340 billion. It's a massive industry, and we want as many people to take advantage as possible. We want the industry to continue to grow.
Well, let's see what happens now with Barbie.
Exactly.
Oh, right?
Over 100 licensing agreements for that
That's
film.
unbelievable. So let's say, Elizabeth, that I have a t-shirt company. I manufacture t-shirts, and I want to sell more t-shirts. I have a good branded t-shirt. I want to put Barbie on it. So I would go to Barbie and I'd ask them if I could rent the rights to their intellectual property. I would probably have to pay them in advance. And every time one of the shirts sold, when I sell them, I have to pay Barbie a royalty. Right?
Yes.
So licensing international, then, when you're showing your membership and you're showing your mission, licensing international is really all the brand properties that are out there really take advantage of being a part of licensing international, and also the licensing agents. So let's say if I needed to find who I can connect up with at Sesame Street to add Sesame Street to my snack containers, we would go to licensing international to find those type of resources. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. So I've got a slide a little bit later on that describes some of our benefits in more depth, but one of the benefits that we provide to our members is we have a directory. So members are able to search the directory. You can search by company name, you can search by an executive name, you can search by category. If you are looking for, companies that have expertise in footwear, for example, you can search that way and gain access to contact information to reach out directly. But we also focus a lot on providing opportunities for networking, so that you don't always have to cold call. You'll have opportunities to spend time directly with executives, get to know them, build relationships, and expand your business in that way. But we run on a corporate membership. So we have over 1,500 member companies around the world. Once your company becomes a member, every employee gains access to our benefits. So for example, Disney has thousands of employees all over the world. They all get access to membership benefits. And as you've mentioned, it's not just brand owners that we represent. We also represent manufacturers, retailers, service providers, like agents, designers, law firms, and it's across every industry that you can imagine.
I'm just going to address another question that came up here. So Elizabeth, and I know this is your time. I appreciate it. So let's say I come up with I have a watch, right? I should say, yeah, I invented a watch, and I think it would be great to have Nike as a licensee, right? So I'm going to call up Nike, and Nike is going to be like, excuse me, we make sneakers, we don't make watches, so you need to go to the company that is a watch manufacturer that rents the rights to our name, Nike, on their watch, if you wanted to see if they would add your watch to their product line, right? So I use the can opener. Somebody calling up, a Budweiser, and Budweiser's like, hey, we make beer, we don't make can openers. So if you want to license your product, then go to a company that makes can openers and see if they'd be interested in licensing your can opener invention. And maybe they have already the rights to use Budweiser on your can opener, right?
Yes, absolutely. So as I mentioned, these are some of the benefits that we provide. So we have that global directory. We have a significant amount of exclusive research. So I mentioned our global licensing industry study. That's an annual study that we put out each year, but we also have partnerships with research firms like Brand Trends and Euromonitor. We also work with the Gina Davis Institute, and then networking. So that's a huge focus for us, especially after so many folks have spent, several years working remotely. We know how important it is to be able to gather together, to make those in-person connections. So in addition to hosting networking events at larger conferences, we also work with our connections all around the world to do more regional events. So opportunities to get together with folks that are in your area. Mentoring and advice. We actually have office hours available with our president, Maura Reagan, who is incredible and one of the foremost experts on licensing in the world. She spent many, many years at Sesame Workshop and has incredible advice, and her knowledge of the industry is encyclopedic. If you ever needed to find someone, she knows who to send you to. Our career center. So if you're looking for a new role within the licensing industry, you can search and apply. Or if you are looking to post a job to find new candidates, that's also available to you. So tons and tons of really fantastic benefits. There's more information on our website as well.
Excellent. Elizabeth, here's a question from one of our viewers. Most here are lone product inventors, not big corporations. Do you have membership for individuals?
Yes, we do. So our membership is actually prorated based on your licensing income. So for smaller companies, startups, we have an entry-level tier.
Okay.
Perfect. Also just wanted to give a shout to some upcoming events. So we have Brand Licensing Europe happening in London at the beginning of October. And then our next licensing expo will be in May 2024 in Las Vegas. I did want to provide a little bit of insight into these events, because if you've never been, it can be a bit intimidating. I would say the first thing I tell everyone is if you're planning to attend an event like Licensing Expo or Brand Licensing Europe, it's really important to book meetings ahead of time. It's very difficult to simply walk onto the floor and chat with someone. The majority of the executives at these events plan out their meetings weeks and even months in advance. But if you are registered for one of these events, there's a meeting platform available to you. You can search all of the companies that are exhibiting, send them a message, and request a meeting. So I would highly recommend doing that if you're planning on attending. But I would also say it can be difficult from that sort of startup perspective to go to some of these really large conferences like Expo, for example, just because the majority of the executives that are there specifically to sign deals. Hundreds of deals actually get inked on the Licensing Expo floor each year. So I would recommend, if you're looking to go specifically for meetings, that you come really prepared in terms of having all of your paperwork in order, things like that. But if you are looking more to just understand the industry a bit better, I would say BLE and Licensing Expo are fantastic events as far as the content is wonderful. There are keynotes and panels. There's tons of networking opportunities. So to go and start building those relationships, it's a really great opportunity.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I have a product that I invented, and I'm manufacturing it. And now I want to have that competitive edge to be able to put Barbie or Nike or Sesame Street on my product. That's what you're talking about, is to go to these events and see the executive team from Sesame Street and show them your product and say, I would like to have Sesame Street on my product. Most likely, the way it works is me as the inventor with my product that I'm manufacturing, I'm going to talk to Sesame Street and I'm going to make a deal with them. I'm going to have to most likely pay them in advance, and I'm going to have to pay them every time one of my products sells with Sesame Street on it. So that's brand property licensing, like you're talking about, and that's what happens at these shows.
Yes.
There's a lot of inventors, Elizabeth, right, that come with a product looking for a company that's a manufacturer to license. Is that where we should be going, or thinking about it that way?
Yes, absolutely. I would say, there are manufacturers that attend these big conferences like BLE and Licensing Expo, but they are, for the most part, looking to partner with brand owners, as opposed to meeting with inventors to gain access to, for example, new designs. So if that is more of what you're looking for, it's possible that some of these larger shows might not be the best fit for you.
But what a great opportunity if we are manufacturing and we get to that point and our goal is to manufacture and start our own business and brand, to be able to know now how to be able to get a brand icon, logo, Barbie, these type of opportunities to go to one of your events and to meet with the executives there to work out some kind of deal. So like recently I had an inventor come to me with an interesting baseball product, and he asked me to call up Major League Baseball. And so they liked the product, but then they vetted him to see how much he's done in sales and what the capacity is of where his distribution is. Also to charge X amount for an advance and X amount per unit percentage that they have to pay, the inventor has to pay to use Major League Baseball. And when you do that, you also have to actually produce every Major League Baseball team that exists under Major League Baseball on your product and distribute it properly. So it's interesting, and it's a tremendous opportunity if you have the margins to be able to add a product, a brand to your product, right? Or you know that it's going to be a little bit more, just like that SpongeBob Band-Aid or Barbie Band-Aid, right? That you're getting. That's where the margins. That's why you're probably paying a little bit more to have SpongeBob and Barbie on your and princesses on your Band-Aids.
Yes, absolutely. And obviously, when you're dealing with some of the biggest brands in the world, their expectations when they're working with a manufacturer would be, mass production at a global scale. So for maybe folks that are not quite at that level, smaller brands, more regional localized brands would have slightly different expectations. And also some of those smaller brands would potentially be, much more willing to work very closely with the manufacturer to, contribute quite a bit more to the process and be very involved and supportive. So that's also something to keep in mind.
Great. There is a question about is Licensing International the only company doing this service, or are there other competitors? What would be the biggest reason to choose you and not? It's not necessary. You do have services, Elizabeth, but if you can just clear this viewer's question of what Licensing International is really about.
Absolutely, yes. Certainly there are trade associations that would also provide supports to various aspects of the licensing industry. But in terms of what we do from that very, 360 perspective of the entire industry, I would say Licensing International really stands alone as the leading trade association for the licensing industry. But I also will say, we're very cognizant of the fact that, a lot of the folks in the audience today might not be in a place right now where they're able to become members. We still want to be supportive of anyone who is looking to enter the licensing industry in some way. If there's anything we can do to help support you on your journey, in the hopes that one day you are able to become a member, we will, of course, always do everything we can. We also provide supports to licensing executives that aren't members. One of the wonderful things about licensing is that it encourages really fantastic innovation But innovation often has to start really small, and we want to support those smaller teams as often as we can. And we hope that one day, when you're able to, you can become a member and help us continue to support the industry.
And Elizabeth, I appreciate and I'm honored to be the Inventor liaison for Licensing International. So sometimes when you're not sure, you might be in the wrong spot. Elizabeth and her staff are amazing, but I also can be a good resource for you, and I'm pretty easy to get in touch with, but to kind of guide and navigate you through. But most of the time, there is something out there for you through Licensing International. It just has to be the right time. And hopefully we've cleared that up with brand property licensing and product licensing. And if you're watching this again afterwards, or this is the first time that you're watching it, you can go to the beginning of our meeting this evening to be able to see what the difference is, just to make sure that you're clear. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much. Also just wanted to include an email address here if anyone wants to reach out with further questions. Please do so. We would love to hear from you. And just another thank you so much for having me this evening.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So a couple of upcoming events that we can be a part of. Your licensing.org website has some great information on there. There's articles, and what's interesting is you could see the latest and greatest deals that are happening, which I love. Just like when you showed the Fruity Pebbles on ice cream, Breyer's Ice Cream inks a deal with Post, and now you can see Fruity Pebbles and all these kind of like cross marketing creativity. Like there was a in one of your slides, there was like a pet cart, like what was it? Almost like a pet carriage, a dog carriage. And outside of the dog carriage was Scooby-Doo. So getting really creative to find ways, like we see Arm & Hammer on toothpaste, and we see all these different things, and you look around all what you have in your house or your office or wherever you are, and you realize that that product is a generic product until a company decided to cross-market it. And like you were saying earlier, the emotional side, the recognition of the logo and the brand to be able to capture that customer's attention and purchase it. Even if they pay a little bit more, they feel good, and they know that they have, especially the kids, right? The pets. Yes. And the kids. When you mentioned it was how many billion earlier?
Oh, 340 billion.
Oh my goodness. I almost stopped at 3 billion because I thought it couldn't. 300 billion. What do you think are the biggest categories that make up that number?
Absolutely. So the two biggest categories, and generally they have been for years, would be apparel and toys. But we've also seen, I will say, location-based entertainment makes up a smaller slice of the pie. It represents about 2% of revenue in terms of product categories. However, LBE, location-based entertainment, the growth between 2021 and 2022 was astronomical. Location-based entertainment was about 30%, and then licensed experiences, so restaurants, hotels, things like that, was up by about 200%, which is massive. And we are only seeing appetites grow. It's an area where consumers feel really strongly. So I would say that's a great place if you're looking for an area that needs innovation, areas that are kind of ripe for growth and change. Location-based entertainment is going to be massive over the next few years, and people are really looking for points of difference, things that will help make their efforts stand out and really appeal to consumers. So I'm excited to see what develops in that area.
Thank you, Elizabeth. This has been great. We're getting all kinds of comments here that I'm trying to put as many as I can on. Just a quick question. Out of all I don't want to get you in too much trouble, but what do you think are your favorite kind of brand licensing products that you've seen? Because you see them all writing all this content and all these deals that are being inked. What do you think is the most interesting recently?
It's hard to pick favorites. I will say I love it when two seemingly unrelated brands come together and do something really unexpected and fun. I know recently we were writing about there was a craft dinner ice cream, which sort of on its face seems really strange, but just the idea that two teams from these companies came together and went through the whole process and put something together that would sort of shock and delight consumers is always something that I get really excited to see.
Thank you, Elizabeth. One last thing from you. There are inventors that are at all stages of their ideas. They could be the idea in their head. They could be in the process of manufacturing their product, or they're looking for a licensing deal, a product licensing deal. If you can just give us some words of wisdom from your experience to help us and navigate through our journey, that would be great.
Absolutely. I would say, please don't stop. Keep going, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many sort of breaks you need. Please always pick it back up and keep going, because truly, from our perspective in the licensing industry, the very, very best products and experiences we see are born out of innovation and truly unique ideas. The sort of same old never sparks joy with consumers the way that something truly unique does. And so please sort of, for all our sakes, just keep going. And any way that we can, we hope to support you.
Thank you so much. Elizabeth Foster from Licensing International. She is the Director of Content and Communications, and you're doing a fabulous job. Thank you for delivering the message tonight for us, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you, and thank Mara and your colleagues for all the support and help with National Inventor Club. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. Okay, that's a wrap for August of 2023. Hopefully, and I see from your comments here that you've gotten some great information, and hopefully it helps you and keeps you moving forward with your invention idea. Couple quick things. Reminder, November 9th is already booked with Director Kathy Vidal from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. If you're interested in that co-create event from Alibaba, you can reach out to me, Brian at nationalinventorclub.com. And for those of you who are premium members of the Inventor Smart Community app or National Inventor Club, because now when you're a member, or you were a member of National Inventor Club, you're now a member of the Inventor Smart Community app. So if you are a member, a premium member, we have sent you the Zoom after meeting networking event. So you have that in your email, and we will see you on there. Thank you, everybody. Please like our page, follow our page so you can keep track and you'll get notifications of upcoming meetings. But you can also join National Inventor Club through Inventor Smart Community app. So you can go on Google or Apple App Store and you can find Inventor Smart Community, and you can sign up for your trial membership and then convert it into the premium and be part of our community in a much more active way. So thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you again soon. For those of you who are premium members, please join on the Zoom in your email. Thank you. Please keep your inventions moving forward, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you, and have a great night.